Hello. All right. Last question of the day comes from Becky. Hello. How you doing, Becky? Who brings to my attention another pretty good paper. Yeah, there's been a couple of them so far. Thank you. Yeah. And so this is about diagnosing COVID-19 associated aspergillosis, and that is when you get aspergilla um, into your lungs. And sorry, Aspergillus. Yeah, I made it feminine or neuter, and it was masculine all the time. Darn it. Yeah, darn it, Latin class. Yeah. Aspergillus. There we go. It's a little fungus, but not like a mushroom fungus. It's a little sort of single-celled thing, like a mold. You can get this from like compost piles. I've heard of where you sort of open the compost pile up, and if it was fungal fermentation in there, you can get boom, big lung full of spores. And fungi are a little bit hard to get out of the human body. So you take something like bacteria, they're actually fairly easy to treat because they're usually going to be outside the cells. Now, the ones that burrow into the cells, like the ones that cause tuberculosis, those are much harder to get out. But usually they're outside, and so you can kind of take a more forceful approach. And also, bacteria are biologically quite different from eukaryotes like us, things with a nucleus. And so, yeah, a lot of the drugs work based on that difference. They're hitting machinery like a thing called the ribosome that every cell has, but some of these bacterial ribosomes are so different from the ones you would find in our cells that drugs that stop the one don't stop the other. And so you can hurt the bacterium without hurting the cell, and isn't that always the goal? Yeah. So this is the idea anyway. Let's see. So you've got aspergillosis. Yeah, difficult to treat because it also has a nucleus. Fungi, if you're ever to look at a tree of life, imagine you got all these branches. All of these are going to be different kinds of bacteria. And at the end of this one little branch over here, you'll have a little tiny leaf that says fungi, and you'll have a little leaf that says plants, and a little leaf that says animals. So we can imagine three little leaves there. That's how close we are to plants and fungus. And all the rest of biology, all the rest of that entire family tree is all different things we would call bacteria or archaea, which are, they look similar to bacteria, but genetically they're somewhere in between. And usually really weird, extremophile, crazy things. So, yeah. But because of this, the fungal enzymes are pretty similar to the enzymes you would have inside of a person. And so we have to take weird little tricks to try and knock these out. So there's a drug that'll go after, for example, we have cholesterol in our cells, and fungi don't use cholesterol. They're like, no, they make their own version, ergosterol or ergosterol. I've never heard an actual person pronounce it, but yeah, that's what the letters look like. And you can actually go in and inhibit the synthesis of this particular compound, and that way you can hurt the fungus and not hurt the cell. Most other things you would try to do that would hurt the fungus would also hurt all of the cells of the body around them, and there are always a lot more of your cells than the fungal cells. So yeah, side effects are a real problem, and fungal infections are very difficult to treat. Yeah. So, what it's saying, anyway, super long story short, is that it looks as though we ought to be paying attention to fungal infections, because you remember back in the day, back like a month ago, when they were giving hydroxychloroquine to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, they were also giving that with azithromycin, which is going to be an antibiotic in that it kills bacteria and does nothing to fungus. So we're already using some of the ways that can knock out bacteria, and that's a problem that we know about and can deal with. But nobody's really watching for fungal contamination. And yeah, it's a paper. It's not really a data paper. It's a paper suggesting that we ought to pay more attention to this thing for the most part. And yeah, that's good. It's a little consciousness raiser for the medical and scientific community. So yeah, wasn't on my radar, is now. I'm going to pay attention, and yeah, thanks. Good paper. This is Ask Dr. Ben.